Comes to the U.S. Inflation Reduction Act and the concerns that the Europeans have about this legislation, this is actually widespread across Europe. Whether you look at Italy, France, Germany, they're all concerned about these subsidies that the American administration has put together to support car manufacturers building electric vehicles from North America. That's very important to keep in mind because that's the piece of legislation that the Europeans have issue with. They are concerned that this is actually threatening European companies. And it was within this context, and you mentioned just moments ago, that Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission, suggested over the weekend that what the EU should do about this is also to step up its subsidies to European car manufacturers. But what we're seeing now is a new dialogue within the 27 member states, because these remarks from the European Commission President were received with some skepticism, in particular in key European capitals. Let me show you what the Finance Minister for Germany, Christian Lindner, had to say about this yesterday when he arrived here in Brussels.
We have to be more agile, and I think there is room for improvement when it comes to state aid. We have to foster our European competitiveness, and I think the Inflation Reduction Act of the US is the opportunity, the invitation to reconsider our competitiveness. There are some parts of Ursula von der Leyen's initiative which need to be further debated, especially her proposal of a European sovereignty fund. If that means a kind of rebranding of existing tools, I'm open for discussion. If sovereignty funds means new common European debt, then I think this would not be an improvement of our competitiveness or stability. It would be a threat for competitiveness and stability.
The German finance minister there telling me that if what Ursula von der Leyen meant was to raise new money, then forget it. That what he is supportive of is using existing European funds to support the European industry. And he is not alone in sharing this opinion. The president of the Eurogroup, Pascal Donoghue, also told me that using taxpayers' money might not be the best way to actually support European car makers.
We all hope, Member States, the Commission, that this kind of engagement has the effect that we want. Cooperation with the United States and many other areas between the US and the EU couldn't be stronger, which is why the effect of this particular economic policy within America and what it could mean for Europe is really, really serious for us. We do want dialogue, we want engagement, we want cooperation to yield benefits, to diffuse and to diminish this issue. But then, of course, Europe will have to consider if we need to take action to protect our economy and to protect our jobs in light of this development.
Some member states have already said that what they favour is actually using current European funds to support European industry rather than coming up with further subsidies. What do you have to say to these member states?
So these are exactly the kind of issues that will need consideration. It goes without saying that it is a lose-lose if we were all using the taxpayers' money in different parts of the world to compete with each other. But I really hope we can get to a point that that kind of scenario is avoided, because what we want to do instead is support investment in those parts of our economy that really will matter in the future to deal with climate change, to deal with moving to a more secure world. But obviously to avoid doing that in which friends and partners are competing with each other at the cost of the taxpayer and at the cost of jobs.
So what we are witnessing is the start of a new debate within the EU on how to support its businesses, its economy, essentially against the American competitiveness. And having said that, also important to monitor what happens between European and American officials in this regard. We had that key meeting happening yesterday in over stateside, and they did say that there is willingness to adapt to the U.S. Inflation Reduction Act to take into consideration some of the concerns raised by the Europeans. So that's the focus in the short term, and of course in the medium term it's looking at how the EU might indeed support its businesses in this regard.